Tom.
Hey Chelsea, how's it going?
It's going good. How are things in Edinburgh?
They're good, they're cold. We had a little bit of snow last night, so the hills are white. So it's kind of early for snow for us, but yeah, it's all right, it's good.
Oh dear.
Makes it feel like Christmas.
Well, and in the UK, you were telling me last week, like, you don't have Thanksgiving. As soon as Halloween's over, it is Christmas time.
Oh yeah, Christmas is in full swing. I went to the shops on Saturday to get some stuff for my dog, and Christmas carols playing in the shops. So, Christmas is upon us.
Yeah. Well, I think we here in America, we put in a really good effort for Thanksgiving, but yep, it's Christmas. It's Christmas, November 1.
Yeah.
I think it's so late this year.
Yeah, you're like the last Thursday, is it? Oh.
Yeah, it's like the 28th.
Yeah, that is late.
Thanksgiving weekend gets into December 1st. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. Which brings us to our topic of conversation today.
It does indeed, yeah. So
this is just the busiest time for singers, the holiday season.
Yeah, there's so many demands on singers at this time of year with constant concerts, if you're in choirs, rehearsals, if you're in shows, extra shows and publicity. So it's a challenging time, especially with coughs and flus and all that kind of stuff going around. Singers need to stay healthy, they need to stay, active and able to keep going. But, how do they keep going without tiring themselves out and, getting into trouble? And yeah, so we're going to talk about that today, aren't we?
Yeah, I saw some memes last year that were like, oh, Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year. And cut to musicians being so overworked and exhausted, and there's so many demands. I mean, if you're a musician or a singer, you are singing every weekend, you're a choir singing, you're performing at holiday festivals. I mean, there was one holiday season I performed in a Dickensian Christmas caroling group.
Wow.
Really fun. But it was demanding because we would be singing outside for hours on end, usually outdoors in the dead of winter. And it was exhausting. And it really was oh wow, yeah, that's a whole nother level.
Yeah. I mean, you've got all that. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, yeah, if you're not singing even outdoors, but it's just kind of this constant calendar of events. Yeah, and I was going to say, singing outside as well, not only have you got the load of what you're doing, but you're dealing with singing in cold, dry air as well, which can be tiring and drying on the voice, and can add another level of stress onto what you're already trying to deal with. I think it's important going into this season, November, December, for singers to just be aware, okay, my schedule, let's get practical, let's get real about what the demands are of my schedule and start to plan ahead now, as opposed to, December 10th rolling around, December 24th rolling around and feeling I am so overwhelmed, I got sick, I didn't plan ahead, I didn't figure out how I was going to maintain my voice and my energy to get through this season. So now is a really important time to just be aware of what is coming up on your calendar.
Yeah, and trying to keep those stress levels down, because you want to keep your body healthy, and stress is not, stress will ensure that you get colds and flus by wearing you down. So trying to keep yourself as organized as you can so that you can stay as healthy, that's a great foundation to then put everything else on top of. I used to run a choir a couple of years ago through our studio, and choirs and Christmas time, they go hand in hand. People want you to come and sing to collect for charities and concerts, and so you find that you're just constantly in rehearsals. So not only as a singer, but as a choir director, the challenges on my voice at that time of year, I'm rehearsing 3 or 4 times a week, singing 2 or 3 different charity busking sessions in a weekend, again similar to you, outdoors in the cold dry air, or inside where it's warm centrally heated air that's dry as well. And it's just a lot, and you just you get excited, and sometimes you push yourself a little bit too far because you're in the moment. It's the Christmas decorations are rough, it's all nice, and you're oh yeah,
yes, of course, it's magical, nothing can go wrong, and then everything goes wrong,
and then you wake up the next morning, you're like this, and you're oh crap.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a really good point about just if you can keep your stress levels down, if you can stay as organized as possible, that's a good first step for kind of combating the hustle and bustle and demands of the holiday season.
Yeah, and then, let's maybe talk a little bit about the actual voice and what, as a singer we can do to make sure, we're keeping our voice healthy. Hopefully, as singers, people are already having regular lessons and working on their vocal balance and their technique in those lessons and done some prep for the kind of stuff that they're going to be working on. But, when you're thinking about, I'm going to do a Christmas Carol concert tonight, having some kind of routine to make sure that you have time to warm up, making sure you're hydrating, getting the voice flexible and ready to go, and not waiting until, sound check or 5 minutes before you walk on stage. Because that's just a whole level of stress you don't need.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to compare what singers do to what athletes do. What we're doing is a physical activity, and I think along those two points that you just made, those would be my top 2 tips for singers. Would be stay hydrated and vocalize. And to get into that a little bit more, so like hydration, if you think about hydration, like if you think about yourself as a potted plant, and if you wait until that potted plant is turning brown and wilting to water it, like the potted plant's done. You got to throw it away. Like you're not going to revive it in time for that evening. It's too late. You really got to be hydrating ahead of time systemically. You've got to be drinking water. You've got to be consuming water. Avoiding drying substances like excessive caffeine or excessive alcohol. And that's just so important. That's so crucial that you look at you. Product placement for yes, you got to be hydrating ahead of time. And sometimes in a pinch, steaming will help a little bit, or a cough drop, something to just kind of like wet your palate and whatnot. But those are not long-term fixes. And in fact, it's like spraying a spray bottle like on a forest. Like it's just not enough hydration. It's not going to work. So that systemic hydration is super, super important. And then I'd say the same thing about vocalizing. Like I don't know many marathon runners who are, ready and prepped to run the marathon when they started training the day before or even the week before. It doesn't work. Like vocalizing has got to be part of your practice as a way to exercise and work out your voice. Coming up with the routine of warming up and what your warm-up routine is so crucial, because when you're in a kind of regular practice about that on a daily basis, then when you're doing the same thing every day, you can start to understand what are the variables in my life that are affecting my voice, right? If you're only realizing like once a week, it's really hard to get a finger on the pulse of what's going on with your voice. Oh, I don't know why I feel different today than I did last week because I've only vocalized once in that time. But if you're vocalizing every day, then you can start to get specific about, oh, well, things feel a little different today because I got more sleep last night, or I got less sleep, or I had dairy and I happen to be personally, intolerant of dairy, or whatever the case may be. You can start to be more specific about what is affecting your voice and your body for good and for bad. And so, I think regular vocalizing is a really crucial part of that preparation, and then understanding what other things are going on that are affecting your voice.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And, understanding what's going on in your voice. So, the human voice changes from, every 5-10 minutes, something different goes on. You get a stressful phone call, you eat something that doesn't agree with you, you haven't drunk water, it's a constantly evolving thing. And so you can feel great 1 minute and terrible the next minute, especially if you get a little stressed, not had enough water, you haven't warmed up and then done a sound check, it all feeds into that. So it's kind of crucial to listen to your body as well and understand where the point is, where you're like, right, I just need to take a minute and just have a rest, just take a minute and rest, give my voice 5-10 minutes just to relax, have some water instead of push, because pushing only gets you so far, doesn't it? You end up making things worse.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think even to get really practical on like a day of performance kind of level, like a lot of times if I've got students who are either have a big audition or have a concert or performance that night, I'll suggest early in the day, you know, several hours, many hours before you've got big audition or the big performance, do a thorough vocalizing, you know, do a really thorough exercise routine, sing through some of your pieces, you know, really get it out several hours before, and then rest your voice. Rest for the several hours after that. Hydrate, rest, chill, do a small little warm up immediately before you're going to go to the audition or to the holiday concert or whatever the case may be, and you'll be ready. But at least then you've done the work hours beforehand to know, like, okay, what kind of day is this going to be? And then you're not wearing your voice out immediately before. Sometimes I think if you do like 30, 60, 90 minutes of singing immediately before the performance, you've kind of like depleted some of your reserves. And even if you're singing in a really healthy way, your technique is rock solid, your voice is really balanced, it's still tiring. Like you still need to be aware that like you only have this much capacity for excellent singing in a given period of time, and don't push it.
Yeah, because you want to save it for the audience. You know, you want to save your best for the audience.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's really good advice as well. And you know, I'm thinking about what singers can do, you know, in their voice lessons as they get ready for the holiday season. You know, why it's really important to start thinking about the pieces that you're going to be singing now, and starting to work through them with your voice teacher, and you know, see what the issues might be that need to be looked at. You know, if there's tricky notes that you need to find a little bit more balance on, or you know, you're needing to work a little bit more on, you know, finding that blend from the bottom to the top. You know, making sure that you do this in advance and not waiting until like 2-3 days before and walking into your voice lesson and be like, oh, I've got to sing this tomorrow night and I've never looked at it before. You know,
that's so strange. No one's ever come into my studio.
Never?
With those demands. Never. It's so strange. Wow. Do people do that? It's so weird.
Yeah. I've had singers come in and be like, I'm singing this tomorrow night and I've never sung this before. And I'm like, oh,
wow, it's crazy.
Magic wand in the back.
Yeah, right. That's what we got. No, you're totally right, Tom. That is so crucial that you're doing the work ahead of time. That's the whole point. The whole point of this entire conversation is do the work ahead of time. It's like anything else with your body. It's like anything else in life. You have got to prepare ahead of time. Doesn't matter how talented you are. You cannot sing All I Want for Christmas Is You without practicing time in advance. I know. I tried in high school. It wasn't my best, you know, like it wasn't great. So I'd recommend giving it the time it deserves.
Yeah. And you know, a good voice teacher will be able to work on that with you and guide you to the places that you need to go to get the best from your voice for those performances, you know. So what can we think about after a performance though? So we've been to choir rehearsal, or we've been to the performance, you know, we're all happy and it went really well, we've enjoyed it. So what can we do to take care of our voices after that thing?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that is so important. This time of year is full of holiday parties and going out and spending time with family and loud restaurants and you know, a lot of kind of potential sand traps for singers. Talking over at loud parties or in loud restaurants, staying out late, lots of alcohol. It's just, I think you've got to, again, be aware and kind of plan ahead. This time of year is so wonderful, and you should and absolutely I endorse going out, having a wonderful time, spending time with your friends and family, and having all the merriment you desire. But again, plan it out. Just know, okay, if my school choir holiday party is this night, but I still have another performance for something else the next day, I'm going to take it easy this night. Maybe I'll get together with that same group of friends after everything's over, and we can really celebrate how I want to. Or, you know, whatever the case may be, I think it's kind of planning in advance. Where can you spend some energy in the holiday merriment, and what days do you actually need to save a little bit?
Yeah, I've kind of had experience of that with my students in the studio. You know, they may be doing like a Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night kind of setup for their show, and they have the first night and they're like, yeah, that went really well, and they go out to celebrate, and they just a little bit too much that first night, and then the Saturday afternoon performance suffers because of it.
Right.
You know, so it's really crucial to kind of understand what's coming up and
keeping an eye on how far you're pushing it. Because you want to celebrate after a first successful performance, but not to the detriment of the rest of your run of the show.
Absolutely.
So we've talked a little bit about, managing and organizing to be prepared. We've talked a bit about, making sure you're hydrating and warming up your voice, doing the prep work in advance for your voice teacher, and then what we can do kind of after the performance and after the shows. So I kind of feel like our next natural thing is to talk about, what happens if you get ill, if you get a cold, if you have the flu, sinus infection, ear infections, because it's that time of year for it all. So, that's another layer of something to think about for singers, because we may pick up a cold, we may pick up a little sniffle, and understanding how that affects your voice. Does that make the higher notes harder for you? Does that make the lower notes harder for you? So what are some of the things that you talk to your singers in their studios about with becoming with that kind of question?
Yeah, that's so important. So I think kind of two ideas here. Sometimes you get so sick that you cannot do anything. You can't. You absolutely cannot. You've lost your voice. You've got laryngitis. You've got the flu. You are throwing up at home. You can't do anything. In which case, you've got to accept those circumstances and rest and take care of yourself and see a doctor as soon as you can and just get on the mend as quickly as possible. And it's so stressful and upsetting sometimes at this time of year if you happen to get ill and have to kind of bow out of previous commitments. But understand that it is not worth it to go and get more sick, get other people sick, perhaps blow out your voice to a more serious point, but push it when you're really at like zero capacity. However, that being said, that seems pretty obvious, right? But that being said, a lot of people will get, the seasonal cold or a mild sore throat or just kind of continuously congested in this time of year. And it's important to know how resilient your voice is and can be. I advise this to a lot of my students too, like if they are like a little sick or they're feeling like maybe a cold's coming on or they're coming off the tail end of a cold or whatnot, I usually advise them to keep their voice lessons and to come in and for us to explore and see what they can do at that point. Because it's so valuable as a singer to recognize I'm hardly ever going to be performing at 100% wellness. It never happens that way. Good luck if you're ever at 80% your best. It doesn't happen, and so it's important to understand, what can I do? How can I vocalize in a way that helps me to get from 55% to 75%? And really a good warm-up routine can help you go that extra percentage. And then it's up to you to decide, okay, is this with where I can get to? Can I still perform? Do I still feel comfortable and confident giving the performance that I need to?
Yeah.
But I think sometimes our voices are much more resilient than we think. And it's important to explore when you're feeling less than 100% what's available to you still.
Absolutely. I think that's really crucial. And I think that's where some of the prep thinking of, doing the prep for your voice teacher and songs, knowing your material really well. So if you are having a bad day and you maybe can't quite held the notes, knowing the piece well enough so you can maybe sing around those notes and not put yourself into that danger zone, which is going to stress you out on stage. And there's nothing worse than watching a singer and you can just tell that they're panicking about a note in the song. It's horrible to see it happening. So that falls back down into that preparing in advance and knowing your stuff, so that should the worst happen, you can put yourself into a place where you can feel confident you can still deliver something.
Yep, absolutely. And I'd say now too is the time to start figuring out what is my kind of regimen in regards to trying to stay healthy at this time of year. What decongestant do I take when I'm feeling really, really stuffy? And try that out now before you've got performances and you realize that decongestant completely dries you out and makes your voice worse. And figure out like what brand of cough drops do I like and prefer that doesn't irritate me, and all of these things. But what is what tea is really great for me? What helps keep feeling my throat open and relaxed, and all of these things. So figure these things out now, be in voice lessons now, all of that works together.
Yeah, I think that gives a singer a kind of toolkit, a checklist, if you like, to work their way through in the next week or two as they get ready for the festive season and all the excitement that's coming this way. So I think, is there anything else that you feel that singers need to think about for the festive season, or do you think we've kind of given everybody enough information to be prepared?
Yeah, I think that was a lot. That was a lot of good info. I think the main theme is, yes, be prepared. Yeah. And on every level, from calendar management, stress management, practicing your pieces ahead of time, being in regular voice lessons, coming up with what your warm-up routine is, knowing what affects your vocal health, resting before and after performances. All of these things are things to keep in mind. And again, I think it's important too to remember that every voice is different and every person is different. And what affects you positively or negatively might not affect somebody else positively or negatively. So you really have to go on your own journey here of preparation and figure out what works for you. A lot of the cliches of like, don't eat dairy the day of a performance, or coffee will dry you out, like may be true for some people and they might not be as true for others. So it's really important you go on your own journey here to figure out how I can be in control of as many health and wellness factors going into the holiday season when so much is up in the air, when so much is a chance.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think that really kind of puts the nail in it for the singers. And I think I would just add, with all of that in mind, just enjoy yourself and enjoy the experience, because it's a wonderful time of year to sing and share that gift with people. People love singing, people love Christmas. It's just, the two are just a magical combination. So just try and enjoy it as much as you can within your checklist and being prepared.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Happy holidays, everyone.
So what's your favorite Christmas song then?
Oh, what is my favorite Christmas song? Oh gosh, I don't know. It's like choosing a favorite child. What's your favorite Christmas song?
I don't know if it's my favorite Christmas song, but I always know it's Christmas when I hear Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas. When I hear that means it's Christmas.
I'm going to bet that your favorite Christmas album is Celine Dion's These Are the Special Times.
Oh, how did you know?
But here's the one I'm recommending for everyone. I have a couple, but my favorite album of the last couple of years is Leslie Odom Jr.'s Christmas album.
Oh,
it is so good. He was Aaron Burr and Hamilton, the original company. It's I think the album's maybe 2-3 years old now. Oh, it's destined to be a forever classic. Dig into that.
You need to have a look for that. So, and I don't think there is one, but I'd like to request that Tori Kelly records a Christmas album. I think she needs to do one. So
let's put that request in. Yeah,
I think so. Tori, if you're watching this, we want a Christmas album, please.
Oh, yes, this is the thing we need. This is the thing we need.
Well, I think that's all we got for you today, singers. So I hope that this kind of chat that we've had in this kind of a new format, I think, Chelsea, would be fair to say, is helpful for you and kind of gives you a kind of insight to how we as singing teachers and voice coaches kind of think about this time of year. And hopefully that will help you get prepared. But if you have other questions, you can send us an email to hello@thebalancedsinger.com or join us on our social media channels, leave comments on our posts, and we'll have more great content for you on YouTube coming soon. And a final plug, don't forget, if you need a warm-up routine for the festive season, we have a fantastic warm-up program for male and female singers on the website. And if you use the code $10 off, which we'll put on the screen somewhere below, you can get $10 off it just now. So check it out, and we hope to see you soon. Thanks, Chelsea.
Thanks, Tom. See you.
Bye.